Have you ever noticed that everyone else seems to have found their life's purpose while you can't even find your phone half the time? See, the truth is, most people are approaching purpose all wrong. They're searching for something that was never meant to be found. And that's because purpose isn't something you discover, it's something you build piece by piece through action and experience. And after years of feeling completely lost myself, I discovered a simple 3-part framework that completely transformed how I approach purpose. And in this video, I'll share with you why you shouldn't wait for your purpose, how the little things can make a big impact, and why you are the key to your purpose, not what you do. Now, in all honesty, the biggest mistake people make when searching for purpose is waiting for it to magically appear instead of actively building it. And it's this passive approach is what's keeping you stuck while others seem to be moving forward with some sort of clarity. Now, let me show you how purpose actually works. Imagine your purpose is like a giant jigsaw puzzle. When you first open the box, you don't really see the full picture. It's just scattered pieces that don't really make sense yet. And as you start connecting these pieces, patterns start to emerge. Some fit perfectly, creating these small sections of clarity. Others don't fit at all, which is honestly just as valuable information. But the picture becomes clear with each piece that you place. And honestly, this is exactly what happened with Isagi in Blue Lock. And you guys remember how he constantly had to rebuild himself almost every episode, right? But each match, each challenge, each failure gave him a new piece to his puzzle. And he didn't wait for someone to tell him that his purpose was to figure it out so he could be the world's best striker. He built that identity through constant action and adaptation. First, he discovered his spatial awareness. Then he learned how to work with his teammates strategically. And he even used his failures against rivals like Rin and Kaiser as pieces to ultimately shape his personal purpose. So, how do you start building your own purpose puzzle when you feel completely lost? Well, first, start with small actions instead of overthinking everything. Trying some new activities without the pressure for them to be the one thing that's going to make it. And during this time of just exploring, why don't you document what energizes you versus what drains you? It's these small reactions and interactions are your puzzle pieces revealing what fits and what doesn't. Second, I want you to move before you're ready. Progress won't come from you standing still. You don't need complete clarity in order to take the next step. Just expand slightly on what's already working. Remember, Isagi didn't wait until he fully understood his abilities before stepping out onto the field. He just figured it out as he went. And the third key here is to build momentum through consistent action. Small daily steps create more clarity than the occasional big leap. And that's because your purpose is going to emerge from the patterns of your actions over time, not from just thinking about it endlessly. So now that you know how to start building your purpose puzzle, let's talk about the second key that's going to accelerate your progress. Now, many people get stuck because they're looking for a massive world-changing purpose when the answer might be much simpler and right in front of them. So let me introduce you to Yuji Itadori from Jujutsu Kaisen and his cog mentality. See, Yuji never aspired to be the strongest sorcerer like Gojo or the most feared like Sukuna. Instead, he embraced what he felt like was being a cog in the machine. He was just somebody who exercised curses because he wanted to help people no matter what. And honestly, it's this cog mentality is what gave Yuji something that a lot of his fellow sorcerers often lacked, and that was clarity. While others maybe question their path or the reason for doing what they do, he always knew his next step because he wasn't burdened by trying to change the entire world all at once. So how do you find purpose in your small, simple joys rather than waiting for some grand mission? First, I want you to identify your everyday joys. Make a list of small activities that bring you genuine satisfaction. Things that you naturally talk about with enthusiasm and seem to make time just disappear when you're doing them. For me, it's things like discussing anime and personal development. I know, right? Surprise, surprise. But the key here is that these aren't just hobbies, they're clues to your purpose. Second, become an active participant in your life, not a passive observer. Choose one of your small joys from your list and try to engage with it more intentionally. Don't just consume content, create, discuss, or even teach it. I started this channel because I wanted to actively share my passion for anime, faith, and growth, not just watch by the sidelines consuming over and over again. And third, I want you to remove the pressure of having to make some money, because in our hustle culture, we often feel guilty enjoying something that doesn't make any money. So give yourself permission to separate purpose from paying the bills, and consider how your joys might complement your work rather than replace it. Fourth, I want you to build consistency around these small joys. Create simple routines that incorporate what brings you meaning, and then notice how these activities affect your overall health and well-being, because this is your purpose starting to take shape. However, none of that matters if you don't understand this next key, and that is that it's the most liberating and freeing truth about your purpose is that you've been looking for it in the wrong direction all along. See, your purpose isn't something external you need to find, it's who you already are at your core. Now let's look at Bleach's Ichigo Kurosaki for an example. He was an ordinary high school kid with orange hair and the ability to see ghosts. But when Rukia, a Soul Reaper, gets injured battling a hollow, Ichigo faces a pretty critical moment. Let his loved ones face danger alone or step up and fight. Now for Ichigo, the choice was pretty obvious, because for him, gaining power wasn't for fame or status. He wanted it solely to protect those he cared about. And this wasn't just a one-time decision either. It became his entire identity. From battling Soul Society to Aizen and the Espadas to Ginjo and the Fullbringers, and even now against Yuhabak and the Quincy, Ichigo never wavered from his core purpose as a protector. His heart, not his powers, is what defined him. So how do you shift from searching for external purpose to recognizing you are the purpose? First, separate your identity from your outcomes. Take out a piece of paper and list your core values and the character traits that define you, both your strengths and your weaknesses. Be honest here. And then identify which parts of you remain consistent across all the different roles in your life. And as these traits create value regardless of your job title and point you to your core purpose, the things that you truly care about. Second, follow curiosity instead of logic. Document what naturally draws your attention without demanding immediate results from yourself. I've noticed I'm naturally drawn to psychology and how people think because I'm a natural people watcher. And your natural curiosities are often clear signs to your purpose. Third, embrace your current season. Identify how your unique perspective adds value right here, right now. How can you serve from your current position with the skills you already have? Understanding what you can offer today removes anxiety about what you should be doing next. And fourth, release the fear of changing direction. Remember that purpose evolves as you grow. Create these small, let's say, experiments to test new directions and to build the habit of just regular reflection. After all, your purpose at 25 may look different at 35 or 45. And honestly, that's exactly how it should be. And that's because the beauty of making yourself the mission is that you no longer need to chase external validation or perfect circumstances. Your purpose becomes portable, something you carry with you into every situation, relationship, and season of life. But the truth is, even though you now know these 3 keys to building your purpose, there's one more challenge you're going to face. And that's knowing what truly motivates you at your core. Without understanding your unique drivers, you might build a purpose that looks good on paper but doesn't actually energize you day after day. So watch this next video where I break down how understanding your ego type unlocks your natural flow state. The sooner you discover your ego type, the faster you'll move from just building your purpose to actually living it out every single day.